So within all beer geeks, Johnny, there are two wolves battling inside them, opposing wolves, right? It's a beer surrection, Johnny. We're talking beer civil war here.
So here we are, another January, and I would say that shooting the Big In 20XX is one of the only good things that happens in the entirety of January.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dry January action going on. Maybe we'll make some dry January content, maybe we won't. We like beer, don't we, Johnny?
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Probably not this
In fact, last year we did make some dry January content because we tipped low alcohol to be cool.
Good link.
So we should start this video, as always, by looking at what we got wrong and what we got right from last year's predictions.
Johnny, I want to take you back a whole 12 months.
No, thanks.
Back in the midst of time. Yeah, I don't want to go back to 2023 either, because it was a rubbish year, wasn't it? And I'm not sure whether our Mystic Meg predictions have got better. but what did we talk about in 2023?
Our hit rate is not great in these videos anymore. They used to be great. So the first thing we talked about was alternative hops. So we were talking about the fact that global heating is changing what hops can go into, particularly core beers and particularly lagers, because European hop harvests have not been great. All these heritage varieties, Saaz, Hallertau, Fuggle, they're all struggling with the new temperatures we're seeing. And so we looked at some of the hops that might be used to replace them. That didn't really happen in 2023. I still think it might happen in 2024 and 2025. The reason it didn't is because the harvest beforehand, particularly of Saaz, was very, very good.
So they had stock left.
Yeah, so we're still working through the plenty that we have. And actually, thankfully, the harvest of 2023 hasn't been bad. So I think we can say we got that very wrong.
I'm glad we got that wrong,
Yeah,
Johnny.
I'm glad we got that wrong.
I'm so glad we got that wrong.
Yeah. So it's a positive, really. I mean, I was dead wrong, but it's good. Sometimes it's good when I'm wrong.
But you know what? It's also good that they're all these sort of new hops that they're developing. So we can, when things get worse, hopefully things won't get worse, Johnny. Hopefully people will take climate action. But if they do get worse, a little bit worse, we can still have hops.
There could be something. Yeah, and these hops are also delicious and unique in their own way, things like Ella. So positive news, but are wrong. Next one we talked about was British hops, modern British hops. And I think on that count, we were right.
Yeah, man.
I have seen so many breweries talking about British hops, getting excited about modern British hops and using them, particularly mostly in sort of hybrids. So lots of you might throw Citra in or something like that, but also then using, particularly I've seen Olicana everywhere because it is a slightly different hop. It's lovely and floral and peachy, whereas like Harlequin, which is the hop that I think most people talk about when they talk about New England IPAs with English hops, are actually quite similar to the American ones. Olicana's got a point of difference, and I've seen that in so many English brewed IPAs now, and that's very exciting.
That's pretty cool, right? Because it's not just trying to simulate an American IPA hop that you'd use in an IPA. It's bringing its own sort of thing, which works equally well.
Exactly, and it's sort of been used in the same way that like Laurel was one of these hops that was so completely unique and different, had different oil contents than most of the big hops, that it started being put in as like an underlying thing, a bit like Centennial as well. And I think that's where Olicana is coming into its own. And we've got so many more exciting hops, as we learned in our video in September, that are coming out that are going to add uniqueness, drama, and indeed the opportunities for hybrid English-American IPAs. Got it right!
Yay!
So the next one, we drank a barley wine from Burning Sky in the middle of the afternoon in January, and that was great. And we were talking about the idea that talking about barley varieties might get trendy, as in the same way that we talk about hop varieties. And that, I think, we didn't get it right, but definitely it is happening. It's not become a big trend, but lots and lots of people like Burning Sky, like New Barns up in Scotland, and a couple of other people, Utopian as well, we focus on English ingredients, all talking about their barley varieties almost more than their hop varieties now.
Yeah. It's a point of difference you can make, right?
Exactly, because we're all using the same hops. If we all start using different barley varieties, it can be different. And also, with the way that beer has gone, where we have got a bit more pintable, a little bit more lagery, and we'll talk about that in a bit, malt is where that difference is going to be made. The yeast and the hop characters are pretty muted in those beers. It's going to be about finding difference in malt, and that definitely is happening. So that's a right, but the beginnings of being right.
Which I would argue is even more Mystic Meg predicting abilities to call something, way off into the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny.
I'm
Maybe
almost cleverer
2025.
because I got it kind of wrong. Yeah,
Kind of.
Kind of. So now we get to the low alcohol that we talked about earlier. And we talked about not just the fact that low alcohol was going to become a big player in the market, because it kind of already is, but it's also been predicted for about 20 years that it would happen. It's taken longer than we thought. But what we talked about was the idea that it would be cool, that it would be exciting, and that modern styles would be made with it. So we've seen low alcohol pastry stouts. We've seen low alcohol American Pales, hazy IPAs. Lucky Saint, which is now the biggest low alcohol beer in the UK, I think, has just released a hazy IPA. So I think we were bang right about that. And Mash Gang, who we talked about, have gone from strength to strength. Stoop, still one of the best low alcohol lagers in the world. Found out it had a bit of chili in it. That's how they get the little hot burn.
Oh, wow.
So they're doing magic, innovative stuff to try and recreate the body, the flavour, the excitement. And they've done exceptionally well. And we were bang on.
The low alcohol breweries are kind of like the Heston Blumenthal's of the kind of craft beer world, and they're having to do mad things to try and make low alcohol beer taste like
because
full alcohol
you
beer.
can't hop it as much, so you have to find other ways to get hop flavour. You can't, obviously, alcohol is a great way of it extracts flavour from ingredients. So if you have no alcohol, you don't have that process. So lots been going on behind the scenes, and lots of strides have been made. And great beer is now, great and varied beer is the key thing, is now coming out in the low alcohol space. So the final one, I remember when we shot it, was the one that kind of upset you when I said we might see almost the death of the dipper. And that was both based on what I'd observed of people wanting more pintable, sessionable stuff, but also in the UK at least, a change in the alcohol laws that meant anything over 7.5% was going to get very expensive to make through tax.
Yeah, like £10 a pint in the bar.
Yeah, definitely pushing that. So we again, Mystic Meg was looking a bit further into the future. So we've seen it, and we've seen also at the other end more 3.5% beers being brewed, because that's getting more tax efficient.
Yes.
So that's definitely started happening. But obviously that law change actually came into play in August. So we've only had 6 months of those new laws. But I think already still we've seen lots of 6 and 7% IPAs and a little bit less dipper brewing going on. Although weirdly, as West Coast got popular, everybody's making West Coast dippers. That's not... I know you're trying to make it exciting so that people actually pick it up, because people don't want West Coast, but that's not what I turn to a West Coaster for.
No.
If there aren't going to be many West Coast IPAs out there, please make them 6%. Please.
Drinkable, sessionable.
Not prediction, it's just literally begging, please. So not a vintage year for Mystic Meg / Johnny, but not a bad year. Half marks.
I think it was pretty good. I think you had some like deep Nostradamus predictions off into the future, like maybe a century away.
These kind of people they're famously wrong.
Well, they're famously wrong in their time, Johnny. But you're like thinking deep into the future.
Right. So I'm just spouting stuff, and eventually most things come true. Just the laws of entropy.
Yeah, like that
Things
sort
fall
of
apart
blind Russian mystic old lady that's predicted loads of things recently.
Has she?
I think that was in the 80s.
Actually. We should get her on. That'd be a collab and a half, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about what we think is going to be big in 2024, starting with these beers that have been staring at us since we arrived. First big prediction.
Go on.
Hoppy lager.
Oh, you're saying it's Year of the Lager
Year of the
again,
lager,
Johnny.
but every time I just find a little twist on
You
it.
just twist it, don't you?
So-
You really want it to be Year of the Lager. Year of the Lager.
This is the first shoot of the day, people.
It is.
So, hoppy lager. Basically, we've seen lager on the rise, and it's been very nice to see. But lots of people still, they want more flavour, less subtlety from their craft beer. It's not what people turn to craft for.
They want their lager to taste less like a lager.
Well, I think lots of people want their lagers to taste like lagers, but lots of other people are like, I'm down with this sessionability, I'm down with a bit of malt character, but where's the citra?
Give me some juice. Give me some juice.
Yeah, so I think that this is a way, particularly because craft beer hasn't grown like we thought it would. It hasn't taken over all the macro taps, all the macro lager taps. We've basically decided, right, so if you don't want to drink IPA, macro beer drinkers, how about we brew a beer that's very recognisable to what you generally drink, but it's got a lot more hop to it. So this is where I sort of see the hoppy lager category, and probably where some bigwigs at AB InBev have sat in a room, not really talked to anybody of any relevance, and paid us for it, but just gone, you know what, let's combine what's great about craft, which is apparently citra, and what's great about macro beer, which is very drinkable, and put them together.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, when you put it like that? From kind of like a cynical perspective, this sort of like hits a lot of bases for a lot of people. And it could be a really good gateway drug / beer to get people into craft beer.
I think so, and also to get people who love big, bold beers into stuff that's a little bit more sensible.
So what you're saying is it works both ways. So it can like take people that are maybe going a bit too the other way
Yeah,
and calm down a bit,
exactly.
and then it can bring new people in as well. So it's sort of
Powerful
homogenizing
vacuum, sucking people to the centre.
like a supermassive blogger hole.
A supermassive hop
Hop hole.
Hop hole, black. Nope, haven't got it. If you go to a bar and go, what lagers have you got? And you're served that, you might be all right with it. You might very much not. I mean, this is a hoppy beer. It's a beautiful beer as well from
real
from White
nice.
Horse. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But I think we're definitely going to see loads being made, and already are on the west coast of America, and we're starting to see it here. Yeah, West Coast pills, hoppy lagers, citra pills. I'm here for it. I think it's great.
I'll drink to that.
Right, prediction number 2 is another hop one. Every year I like to pick what's going to happen in hops, or basically an IPA. And this year, I think it's going to be the year of Strata. And this, again, is a prediction / a beg, because I love Strata. Strata is a new American hop.
Yeah.
It smells like the dankest weed, the peachiest peach, and the passion fruitiest passion fruit.
The stickiest of the ickiest.
It's the stickiest of the ickiest. And I was often when we do these predictions, we do it in a bottle shop. We're here at the Beer Merchant Staff in Hackney Wick. And usually I come up with this prediction, then can't find any of it in the fridge. This time, not an issue. So much Strata knocking around.
Beer Merchant's Tap, shout out.
Shout out.
Great
Beautiful
fridges.
space.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So this one is a double dry hop. Oh my God.
Mate, look at the colour of it. What the?
So this one's from Cloudwater. It's a double dry hopped single strata.
Yeah.
So no other hop going on. Some of these have other hops in. So we're going to get exactly what strata is all about from this, because you literally couldn't put much more strata into a beer than Cloudwater have here.
Nice glassware.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Who designed this, Bradley? Was it you?
Might have been.
Yeah, and is it for sale from our web store?
Definitely.
Yeah, amazing.
Great Christmas gift.
No, wait, this is out in January.
Great
January gift.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, Mum, but I have smoked something that's quite a lot like that.
Oh, have you?
But also, it's that slightly tart passion fruit edge that I love to Strata, and means that it really jumps out. I mean, let's be honest, we can't always pick out the hops that are in our beer blind, because a lot of them are quite similar.
Yeah.
This is one that whenever I find it, it's a bit like Citra, it's a bit like Mosaic. If it's in there, I can just go, well, there's Strata in that. Because it's just, it's that aroma. It's sticky passion fruit and weediness. And
Amazing.
It's just brilliant in New England IPAs. People keep putting it in West Coasties. I don't like it. West Coasters. I love it in New England IPAs. What I also love about Strata, how smooth is that bitterness?
Super smooth. Not angular at all.
No, it's just beautifully
Velvety.
velvety. Exactly, which is why it's so good in these New Englands. It's just a soft, lingering bitterness that never gets sharp, like in, say, like a Galaxy or something like that. And also, you know, different hops will have different effects on the look and the mouth feel as well. And I think that Strata, both perceived in our heads because of the stickiness of it, and because of the actual physiological foaminess that it adds, just makes it feel sticky and velvety. It's like a nightclub carpet.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah, you didn't want to hear that though, did you? So I'm not alone in loving Strata. As we can see, so we've got Garage in Barcelona, Cloudwater. Daya love Strata so much that they did a rebrand special of Steady Rolling Man with Strata, and it's bloody excellent. We've then got Glasshouse, a Midlands brewery from the UK, make fantastic hazy beer. They've teamed it up with Eldorado, and I bet that really works very nicely. And then the old reliable, Verdant, also loves Strata as well. So this is Strata, Nelson Sauvin, and Motueka. So that's going to be limey, passion fruity, and sort of white winey gooseberry. Like, I bet this is absolutely brilliant.
It's called Travel Rugs, Johnny,
Yeah.
which kind of brings the passion fruit tropical nature of it and the nightclub carpet.
There you go. They've combined the two.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds. Me and James
Travel Rugs.
stuck together in Strata.
Like a rug.
Like a
In a nightclub.
Wrapped in a rug like a dead body.
Oh, God.
Right, so this is the moment in the video where British people should get very excited, because I'm going to talk about some breweries that are making waves, making great beer that are brand new.
Nice.
And we've got 3 of them here. But actually, we're not going to really talk about those breweries. We're going to talk about macro beer. Because with everything that's happening in the world, with financial uncertainty with global heating, with everything. Things are very, very tough for small breweries at the moment, and very, very tough. More importantly, for this discussion, for pubs and bars and bottle shops who are, having to charge more and more for their beers, which will affect how much they sell, or indeed not charging more and more and having their margins eaten away. And this would make it very tempting for a pub or a bar or a bottle shop to stock like faux craft, like non-independent, potentially non-ethical, big beer.
Because the margins are much.
Yeah, well, they'll be given free kegs. Buy one get one free. Buy one get three free is a deal I actually heard of on a particular.
Buy what? Sorry, how many?
Buy one get three free.
What?
It's just crazy the deals that are being done because the big breweries know that this is an opportunity to knock independent people off the taps, tie people into contracts. They'll pay a lot of money, like they'll deck out your cellar. They'll give you absurd amounts of free kegs to stay with them. And it's just very, very tricky for small breweries to ever compete with that.
Well, the big guys know that they've got the money to kind of have a war of attrition almost, right?
I mean, let's be, not all the big breweries are doing particularly well, but they've got cash reserves or they've got the margins to be able to do it. So we're going to champion some small brewers right now, but remember that this year might be a year where some of your favourite beers might disappear from your taps because somebody big comes in. And so that's a sad trend. It's going to happen all over the world. And we've softened on macro beer, but not on all of them.
No.
Only on the people that
This is a really good opportunity as well for, I think, bottle shops to kind of take up some of the slack in a way, almost. Some of these, in a way that, like when vinyl wasn't that cool, your little local independent record shop was still keeping the faith, and it was keeping the music alive, right? And now, because those things were supported by people, they're like flourishing.
Yep.
And like, if we can do that with bottle shops, and they can take the small independent breweries' beer,
exactly,
keep them open, keep buying in the bottle shops. Happy days, hopefully.
Absolutely. So we've got four breweries really on this table. Four that I'm quite excited about from the UK. Two of them are basically from Reading.
Yeah.
So we've got Two Flints, who are actually one of my breweries of the year last year. They make fantastic, really clean, really dialed in, beautiful beer of all styles, hazy IPAs, West Coast IPAs, lagers. Their Keller beer's great. And this is actually a collab with Indie Rabble, who are, in an indirect way, one of our Patreons. So a Hoppy Place, which is a great bottle shop and bar, two great bottle shops and bars.
Yep.
They now have a brewery. They're neighbours with these guys, which is why this beer is called Neighbours. And it's a hazy IPA. Both of those guys I expect to be making delicious beer. We've got Nothing Bound. This Solar Peace Pale Ale Citra Nelson is so good, so incredibly drinkable, nice bitterness to it, kind of mountain style, a little bit lighter, less soupy, very, very drinkable. And then we have Phantom, who are fans of the channel, thanks guys, and have made this beautiful, berry noted vanilla stout.
It's fantastic.
It smells amazing. Naughty milk chocolate, like cheap milk chocolate, loads of vanilla, kind of red berry raspberry kind of character from it as well. Little hint of banana as well coming through. Could be a brewing flaw. Even if it is, it's delicious.
It's like a sort of pick a mix of great sweets, isn't it?
You've just sort of grabbed. You're a kid and you've grabbed handfuls of it, and your parents are like, "No, we have to pay for that."
Stop what you're doing! No, mummy, daddy, I'm gonna get all of them. Bananas are going in.
Exactly.
Chocolate mice are going in.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Do you know actually? Yeah, the white chocolate with the sprinkles on top.
Oh yeah.
Getting a little bit of that from this, like vanilla white chocolatey kind of thing. Absolutely delicious. All of that we're talking about is very sweet, but actually it's pretty balanced. It's a sweet beer.
Yeah.
But it's got some balance to it, a little bit of very soft kind of dark chocolate to it as well to balance that finish. It's a nicely made beer. And I'm not aware of too many sort of faux craft breweries making stuff like this.
No.
So that's great to see, and the great strength of craft beer. It would be very tempting for small brewers, and possibly a good move to make a really good 4% hazy IPA. But we need to start keep making this stuff as well. So we've talked about like faux independent and actual independent beer, which used to be the way that sort of craft beer was defined along that line of independence, and that was sort of the battle. If you were a craft brewery, you defined yourself against macro beer, right? That's kind of broken down because macro brewers now make very good beer, whether you want to drink it or not. A lot of it is very good beer. So craft has sort of had to have a little soul search and work out the best way that it can define itself. It could sort of really hype up that fight and be like, you're invading our territory. And some brewers have, and that hasn't really worked out for them, or they've ended up joining the establishment. Brewdog. So the new way that I think breweries are trying to define themselves is what they're about, what they do, how they make it, who they are as people.
Yes.
A very individualistic approach to
Right.
encourage people to drink before we get to, just talking about flavour. So to me, I'm seeing this new split in craft beer, right? Bear with me. What we've got here from McColl's is a beautiful, essentially farmhouse saison that's been dry hopped with Hallertau Blanc and Galaxy. It's very modern. It's very exciting. It's got a big, bold aroma of gooseberry and hay and spiciness and all kinds of saison character. I love this beer.
It's a damn fine beer.
But it is a very sensible, modern, adult style of beer,
Yeah.
right?
So they're kind of combining tradition and modernity.
Yeah, they're taking like the serious points of, like the nations of Belgium and Germany and the Czech Republic and the UK as well with our sort of cask market.
Yeah.
Those things are beautiful, have been around for a long time, are very important things like heritage in those countries, but also delicious flavors and cultures. So they're doing that, but they're doing it in a modern way. So that's where like Galaxy and Hallertau Blanc and higher ABVs and stuff like that comes in. And that's an approach to craft beer that I love and respect, and we've seen it in, people like Notch,
Yes.
who probably would identify themselves as closer to Pilsner or Urquell than they would to say the brewery we're about to drink.
Serious beer for not necessarily serious people.
Yeah, I
But
guess
like
so.
people that love beer, but they can appreciate the thought and the effort and the tradition that's gone into
Let's
it.
come, that heritage
The
element.
respect of the
Exactly.
tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect is a good word.
Yeah.
Let's drink a smoothie, Sam. Right, so then we have the other end of craft. And I want to be really clear, I'm not being disrespectful. I love these styles of beer.
Yeah.
They're brilliant and important. But it's the silly end, right? It's absolutely stupid, and
Yeah.
that's why it's great, okay?
Stupid is cool though, Johnny.
Stupid can be cool.
Stupid's fun.
And it is delicious.
And it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are all good things.
Exactly. Well, we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
So this is the style of beer that throws tradition out the window, that says beer can be whatever you want it to be.
It's like a Willy Wonka beer. Whoa. Jesus Christ, Johnny. This is beer?
It's basically raspberry cooling.
That's a smoothie, mate. Never I've seen one.
I've seen smoothies thinner than this.
Oh my God.
Right? So this is kind of the noisy end of craft. This is what we see on Instagram, because obviously, look at it. This is what we talk about, both positively and negatively. On beer Twitter, it's never going to be called X. This is what people talk about. They either love this stuff, or they hate this stuff, or they love or hate this stuff, but they think everybody should be able to enjoy what they want, whatever it is. This is the talking point, right?
This is what everyone's buzzing about.
Exactly.
Almost. There's a big brouhaha.
Yeah.
Brouhaha. About
I'm fairly sure this will count towards your
my-
5 a day.
oh my God. How much fruit puree's gone into this?
I think the question should be how much beer's gone into this. It's basically puree.
Wow.
So this is undeniably delicious. People, you have to love fruit, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
delicious. It's nicely balanced. No, that's complete nonsense. It's not balanced at all. It's nicely constructed, structured. It's big, it's bold, it's sour, but it's really clean. It's well made. Yeah, it makes you want to do that, but it also makes you want to go in again.
I'm loving it.
I have no issue with this style of beer. The only issue comes from the fact that increasingly people within the craft beer space and without are defining craft beer by this
Yeah, okay.
more than they are by this.
Yeah.
So that makes it very difficult for, say, the Notches,
To cut through.
the Coles, the Utopians, exactly. It's hard for them to make noise, and it also means that when people come into their spaces or when people review their beers on Untapped, they're like, this didn't make me squint and get heartburn and smile ear to ear. This was just delicious, and I drank a pint of it, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat, 3.5 stars. So this, understandably, makes some breweries quite angry, upset, frustrated at this style of brewing because it gets all the talking.
Yes.
and this kind of beer, which is equally delicious, equally important, equally special, and also involves heritage, culture, history, doesn't get a look in. So you can see why people making this stuff are getting very antsy and frustrated and worried about the way the craft is perceived.
So within all beer geeks, Johnny, there are two wolves battling inside them, opposing wolves, right? It's a beer surrection, Johnny. We're talking beer civil war here. It's a battle between righteously, amazingly respectful beer and silly, glorious,
Stuff that just throws all that out the window.
Fun, don't care, throwing my pants in the air beer.
Yeah.
And they're both right.
They're both right, they're both delicious, they're both great, but the two come under this umbrella of craft. The trend here is that these people are marketing themselves, not McCall's specifically, but people making this kind of beer as serious, interesting, heritage-influenced beer. And the other people are, saying beer should be fun, beer should be exciting, throw all the rules out. And that's the way that the marketing is going. The question is, what is left of like our definitions and our expectations of a craft beer if that kind of almost polarization happens, So I just wanted to raise that as something to think about. We very much sit across all of this whole spectrum. We love all of it.
Yeah.
And we have to be very careful about how we talk about these different things and try to speak to an audience that enjoys all of these things. But increasingly breweries are like, no, we're just going to speak to our people. And I don't think that's actually very helpful. I don't think that these people should be going,
This is like tribalism, right?
Pilsner Urquell is dull. Yeah, which is the way that all humanity sort of keeps trying to revert back to.
Yeah. My tribe better than your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess tribalism is probably the best way to put this. That's possibly the trend I'm talking about, and we need to resist it and enjoy it. And if we don't enjoy it, at least let other people enjoy it without being
Increase
snobs.
the peace.
Increase the
Let's
peace.
mingle.
Love and beer. Love, beer. It's kind of what it comes down to.